converted now is here. It's time to read from SJ, oh dear. Why must I torture myself and others by reading the dribble that this apologist offers? Okay, anyway, so SJ Thomason on Twitter. I don't know, I just can't quit. I just can't get enough of this. I unfollowed her for a while, and then I was like, let's see what go back to following her because it's just so much fun. I just get so much content out of it. It's just like it's so wrong. Everything is just so wrong with it. So both the Twitter links that I'm talking about are in the description of this live hangout. There's a Derp tweet, which is the first one I'm going to talk about, and we'll talk about testing claims, which is the next one I'll talk about. And I'm going to cough apparently. I'll also put the link to this hangout if you want to join me. If anyone shows up to do that, and then that link will then be removed once this live hangout is no longer live, because then yeah. Okay, so SJ Thomason at lead 1225 says the following: people can try to justify their rejection of God with faulty assertions about the Bible, but he sees their true intentions and lets them remain in the dark where they want to be. Okay, so um let's see. How do we begin here? So, first we're asserting that people are rejecting God, which means that they know that there is a God to reject. That it implies that there's something to reject already. And that might not be the case. Plenty of people have never heard about God until later in life, and plenty of people have no God concept. I know that that's not something that the apologist ever wants to accept or admit to, but it's true. So they're not rejecting God, they've just never heard of God. Or maybe they've never heard of your particular God. They've never heard of the Judeo Christian God. So really, this should read rejection of the Judeo Christian God, but that only applies if you believed that there was a Judeo Christian God, and then you rejected it, or you said, "Nah, I don't like that." It's like, okay, I know that SJ Thomason exists, and she knows I exist. Now she doesn't know my real name. No, only a cool few handful of people do, but nonetheless, we know that each other exists, which is more than I can say about any god at all, let alone this particular god that she's talking about. And the reason we can know each other exists is we've got empirical evidence of each other, we've got repeatable tests we can run on each other, we've even got valid and sound arguments about each other. I can see her, I can hear her talk. That's more than I can do with God. So there's more evidence for SJ than there is for her God. Now, so if SJ said, "Hey, you want to be friends?" I might accept that or reject it. So, what would be my justification to reject the offer of friendship? And there might be a number of potential reasons that I have, or what have you, or I might accept it. It just depends. But I actually have a real choice to be made because I have been presented with actual data that I can interact with. There is a choice to be made. There is two doors to choose from: reject or accept. And I can see the doors. The problem with God is not only is there not a door to see, but if there is a door, it's invisible and undetectable by any means at all. So you just have to believe that there's a door and think that you're right and assert that you're right, and you don't get to test that there's a door ever. All you can do is make faulty arguments about the door and assert that people are rejecting opening the door, and they're like, well, what door are you talking about? You point to a wall, you say, that door right there. I don't see a door. Well, of course you don't, because you don't believe in it. It's just ridiculous. And about the Bible, don't care about the Bible. Your holy book is no more special than any other holy book out there. None of them are holy, really. They're words of humans that people wrote down at some point about what they believe. I don't care. Lots of people believe lots of things, and so who cares? It doesn't. The Bible is just not even relevant in regards to a acceptance or rejection of a claim, because the claims that it makes are additional claims that you can either accept without any evidence, just believe that they're true, or upon looking at if there is evidence to support them, say, well, I reject that claim because it's false. It's not a true claim, so my only choice is to say no to it. But at least I have I have words that I can go on. But the God itself that it's talking about may or may not be rejected along with the words. It's possible that you could reject all the words of the Bible, but still think that there was a Yahweh God, or that there is a Yahweh God, and just the Bible got it wrong. It's possible. It's unusual, but it's possible. So this also, of course, implies that that the assertions being made about the Bible are faulty. So it's like, well, what assertions are you talking about? Like, how do you know what it is that I and others are rejecting in regards to the Bible? This is just special knowledge that you can't possibly have. But he sees their true intention. So now you're speaking of God and what God sees. So you know what God is thinking, I guess, or whatever. And so apparently God sees the true intentions, whatever that means. I don't have an intention to reject or accept God. I don't have a choice in the matter. There isn't evidence of God. If there was, then I could make a choice. But there isn't evidence of God, so I have to I have to choose to not believe. I don't have a choice there. If there was evidence, I could accept or reject God's offer of friendship or what have you. But I can't even do that because I can't even verify that there is a God. And the Bible just adds more problems to that rather than lessens those problems. But the Bible isn't in and of itself why I don't think that this particular God doesn't exist. But the fact that much of the Bible is not supported by history and is also shown to be wrong in history, it's unscientific, has moral problems, and it is written like a mythology book. So it's nothing unique about it once you look at other religions and look at their claims. There isn't really, and I know Christians like to say, well, we've got Jesus, and other people don't have Jesus. Other religions have savior figures. They're just different than yours. But even if yours is unique, that still doesn't matter. But why would God knows apparently my intentions, which I apparently don't even know because I don't have any intention one way or the other. I can't, God would know that I don't believe in it because it doesn't give me the things that I want. And it would know that my intention is to try to find those things about God and see if maybe I missed something or, whatever. But again, for whatever reason, God's not providing me with those things, and God would know that. Now, why would it let me remain in the dark? About what? Remain in the dark about God's existence? Remain in the dark about my own intentions? What does that even mean? Where they want to be? You want to be in the dark. No, I want to not be in the dark, but why again now if we held all this as tentatively true, that I reject God only because of faulty assertions about the Bible, God knows that, lets me do it because I want to do it. Like, what sense does that make? I thought God wants a relationship with humans, so why wouldn't it intervene and be like, okay, look, here's how you can understand the Bible better? It just makes no sense. Uh, in any sense. This is completely incoherent. Okay, so a lot of responses to go through here. I guess I'll just start at the top and go down. SJ's Brain, I love SJ's Brain, by the way. If you're not following SJ's Brain on Twitter, you really should. Anyway, so SJ's Brain tries to explain, if your child was playing on the street and a truck was about to run over them, would you physically grab them and drag them to safety? Or say, well, they're exercising free will, and I wrote a book in Greek warning them about the dangers of playing in the street. Yeah, basically, like, yeah, that it, I'll let you remain in ignorance about what I wrote, because that's where you want to be. I said the rejection of God is due to the overwhelming lack of evidence for God. I can't see God. I can't touch it, smell it, hear it. I can't test it. The Bible is just humans' writings about what they believe, among any other writings. Ice Tender says you're describing a villain. And then SJ says that's a fair term for those who reject love. Huh? What love? God's love? I have no evidence that God exists, let alone that God loves anything. So then he says, so we're agreed, your God's a villain. I doubt anyone in history rejected love in sheer quantity as it has over the years. God is love, is her rebuttal. No, God is not love. In any coherent sense, Yahweh is not love. Hey, spooky bed hair. What is this? What am I looking at? Yay! It's lobster pins. That's great. Thanks. Buy them and send them to me, or give me $11 through PayPal so I can buy them. I'll put them in my next video. What was I saying? So God is love. Yeah, this is just, that's just what you're told in church, and I remember believing that and saying that many times, but it's not. The love that we have for each other, humans, is real. It's concrete, and we can express that, and we know that we exist, so we don't have a problem in accepting or rejecting somebody's love for us. And there is a real choice to be made because we actually know that that person really exists. But it contradicts what she said. God's actively rejecting billions of people because apparently that's what they want. Paul Clark. I'm not as rich as you. You think $11 is rich, Spooky? I don't. How do you know you're not as rich as me? How do you know you're not more rich? You don't know. You might have more money than I. Paul Clark, faulty assertions? Like what? It contradicts itself? Contradicts historical and archaeological evidence? Contradicts scientific evidence? Parts of it are bizarre. Parts are just plain evil. The Bible is fine as long as you cherry pick and don't take it literally. Yeah, I agree with that. And then she says, "Case in point." What does that even mean? What do you? Huh? What kind of rebuttal is that? Okay, so you say the Bible never contradicts itself, never contradicts the historical, archaeological, scientific evidence, never bizarre, never evil. You're saying Christians never need to cherry pick and take it all literal? Seriously? The Bible is the standard against which I judge the truth of other claims. That's not an answer to what he asked you. And my response to that was, how do you use the Bible to test the claim of whether or not a microwave works? Because microwaves, aren't mentioned in the Bible. So how does that work there? Um, Bible history skeptic asks how she knows that the Bible is good standard of truth. What metrics? How do you know if God's telling the truth? Uh, yeah, yeah, it's a confirmation bias. Yeah, I love this. After I learned what confirmation bias was, I began to see it everywhere. Oh, that's great. You need to set yourself much higher standards. Uh, you reject reason and logic in favor of your fairy tales. Pretty much. Um, so Josh Sterling says, I fumbled in the dark for 30 years as a Christian, wearing my God glasses, trying to square the Bible in the circle of reality. Now I see the world in its full color and beauty. No, you just gave in to your weakest trait. Fucking hell, man. What? What? And he says, go on, tell me more about myself. I'd love to hear you tell me about my deconversion. I'd love to hear about your deconversion. You can let me know about that. I mean, this is just. I, I just don't understand. I really just. You cannot know what someone else is thinking. You cannot know what it is that caused them to leave. No, they didn't give into their weakest traits. Just, no. Um, you gave, it's just Christianese. Don't take it personal. You gave into reality. Uh, yeah, I mean, the thing is, once you leave the religion, you see how bad it is. While you're in it, you can't see that. The dude from Texas says, I can't speak for others, but deconversion after building your life on Christianity was excruciating and not built on faulty assertions, but rather studying and trying to justify the morality of God, of the Bible, and finally realizing I had been indoctrinated. Right. Well, yeah, and that's my deconversion story. I actually looked at the archaeology of the Bible, which SJ Thomason doesn't care about. I brought that up, and he's like, "Oh, well, there's this and this." I'm like, "No, there isn't." You know. Amen. I love it when people just do that. Yeah, amen. Woo! I have nothing to say. This one person asks about, where they put to death anyone who works on the Sabbath. Does it include police, firefighters, medical? Can I get a pass so I can make my project deadline? Yeah. I'm curious. What are my intentions? Uh, so I merely gave you people free will, and look what he did to me. And then on top of it all, y'all turned against me too. Yeah, it's all incoherent. Like, I gave you all free will. I'm gonna hide myself so that you can't see that I'm here. And then when you reject me, I'll let you do that because that's what you want to do. Even though I really want a relationship with you. What? Um, and then this one. post. This guy's got to be an apologist of some scope. Being in ignorance, they turn to science. Yeah, well, science actually is a demonstrably testable thing. You're using science right now, F.J. Von Frederick, to respond to a tweet on the internet that exists because of science. And philosophers for answers. No, I don't turn to philosophers for answers. Using fear as a scale of discernment? What? No. People justify the resistance to God's grace? No, God doesn't. No, I don't believe in God because there's no evidence of it. Truth awakens, blah, 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 glory, but it's just dribble. None of that is, it's just dribble. It's just, it's nonsense. I always wonder why God does not open the hearts of those who are trying to understand but continue to have doubts. How about just give us evidence? That would be good. That's all I need. Just present yourself. Just show up. And I was thinking about this song again. Oh, what's it? There it is. Hopkins Ill Mine 7, and it is a deconversion song, and it is great. It's fantastic. I love it because he's struggling with his faith and these ideas from faith, but he's also recognizing that there isn't proof to this. Just show yourself, and that would settle it. And I agree. Let's see. Put that link in the description. All right. Back here. All right. Let's see. What was I doing? Okay, so this guy says, I justify my rejection of all gods by knowing that all of its mythology and folklore. That's why they call it faith, because it's not knowledge. Yeah. You wouldn't need faith if you had facts. Like all the contradictions. Yeah. And this one guy just said, you're muted after that. It's just, godless souls prove how much they too are in need of God. Thankfully, we have free will. I wouldn't trade anything for knowing God. Okay, that's great, but I don't know that God exists. So, what role does free will play there? See, that's the thing. Is like people, they don't think about this. They don't really think about what they're saying. Well, at some level they do, but they're not really critically analyzing it. I knew what it was like to be a believer, and I wanted people to experience God. I really did. But I also was learning a little bit about logic and a little bit about philosophy and stuff, and I saw that there was bad approaches to it, and I was trying to do a good approach to it, but they kept asking me for evidence, and I was like, okay, well, where is it? I've just got to find it, and when I look for it, there isn't any. So that's it. That settles it. Um, you know, the Bible does have a lot of problems with it, and that by itself would justify rejecting the ideas in it. If God was perfect, it could have written the Bible perfectly, but it didn't do that or didn't have it be that way for whatever reason. Yeah, name a faulty assertion. Yeah. So the true intentions of other people? Wow. Yeah, I know exactly. Um. So, anyways, that's enough of that tweet. Let me talk about the other one. So, SJ Thomason had made this post uh, that she has a very strong sense when in a room with one who's in trouble. So I took that screenshot and I said, I'll put up $1,000 as a reward if you contest this claim you have made and show it to be true every time. Contact me as to the conditions of the test. Also, I'll convert to theism on the spot. Her response was, must everything in life be tested for it to be true? No. I'm like, you made a claim. I offer you $1,000 and a chance to have me instantly convert. How can we know your claim is true unless it is tested? What's the matter, SJ? Don't want $1,000? Anyone want to start a GoFundMe to raise the price of this offer higher and higher? This is the problem: is you have a belief that you have an ability and you're not willing to test it. So part of your brain kind of knows that this ability isn't real if you're not willing to test it. Or maybe I don't know how to read your mind and I have no idea what you know and don't know. But it's very sketchy that you're not willing to test this claim. So we get somebody that you can sense in the room that's in trouble, whatever that means. And then later in that post, she also mentioned, that she wouldn't debate atheists in person because of this feeling that she has. Okay, so what? You can detect atheists or detect demons, or what is it that the claim is, right? Okay, but we'll get somebody that you say, yes, I can tell that they're in trouble. We'll take that person out of the room and we'll say, okay, at what point can you stop that you no longer detect them? Like, how far away do they have to be so that we can get, a clean condition for it to be, and have it be her one and a door. Say, okay, can you detect them behind the door? And we'll have the person behind the door and the door will be closed. Can you still feel that they're there? Yes or no? Okay, we open the door, see they're still there. Yes, okay. I did detect them. All right, great. So some of the times that with the door closed, you're gonna say that, when I say ready, you're going to say whether or not the person's behind the door. And if you get it right 20 out of 20 times, then you get $1,000 and I'll convert to theism on the spot. Now I know that you won't get it right 20 out of 20 times. You might get one right by chance. The odds against you, guessing right every time are basically winning the lotto kind of odds. But sometimes the person would be there, sometimes they wouldn't be there, sometimes it might be a different person, and you don't know. And the only way for you to actually know is your sense telling you what is going on. But that would prove something. And your claims are not something that you're willing to subject to testing. We don't know if it's true. And must everything in life be tested? Ideally, that would be good if we could test it. Might it still be true even if we didn't test it? Sure, but that's not the point, nor is it the offer. And so, this is just runaway, runaway, runaway train. You don't want your claim to be tested, and it does hint at the idea that maybe you kind of know that if it was tested, it would be revealed to be not real. And then you couldn't say that you have a strong sense of when you're in a room with somebody who's in trouble, whatever that might mean. But since we didn't test it, you won't test it. You can continue to make this claim that you have no proof of and think that it's true, and not have to worry about it ever not being true because you're not going to test it. Wow. So faulty logic, just to the extreme. Nothing new under the sun there, I suppose. So, the SJ Thomason movie will be a thing at some point. I don't know when, but look forward to it. Hopefully, it will be entertaining and funny and interesting. Doing what I can to make that happen. So, hopefully, we'll get a lot of views and comments and all that. I guess I'm done with this nonsense for now. And until next time, lobsters exist and Finn. So, bye.